Welcome to the podcast growth series. If you're ready to grow your audience, increase your downloads, and finally see your podcast gain the traction it deserves, this series is for you. Over the next 12 episodes, I'll guide you step by step through strategies to help you understand your audience, make your content more discoverable, and create episodes that listeners love to share. This isn't just a series for inspiration or fluff. It is designed to help you achieve real, tangible growth. Each episode is built on the last, giving you practical, actionable insights you can implement right away. By the end, you have a complete system for sustainable podcast growth, and you have achieved real progress towards the audience and impact you've always wanted. So grab your notebook and pen, and let's get started. Hello, my darling. Welcome back to the second episode of the podcast growth series. I am so excited you're here today because today we are talking about SEO, my favorite thing in the whole wide world. Now, if you have not listened to episode 1, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to go back and listen to episode 1 because episode 1 really is the foundation of everything. And the reason for that is that the degree to which you can understand SEO is the degree to which you can understand your listener. And all of that information is contained within episode 1. So if you have not listened to that, go ahead and listen because this episode is not going to make sense to you if you have not listened to that episode first. I'll make sure to link that for you down below in the show notes so that you can go ahead and listen. But in a nutshell, today we're talking about SEO and how your show can become more discoverable. My goal today is to equip you with the tools to increase discoverability and to turn traffic into loyal listeners. Now, I'm going to assume that you don't know anything about SEO, and if you do, just bear with me. But this is really important for those of you who do not understand what SEO is. Now, SEO basically just means that there are these keywords or key phrases that whenever your person, she has a doubt or he has a doubt about something, they go on Google and they search that thing, right? So for example, you can literally go on any search engine right now and search, for example, how to be happier, right? That is a search query that people are searching. Maybe your person is searching that, maybe you're searching that, but in a nutshell, that is a keyword. How to be happier is a keyword. So don't get hung up on the fact that I'm saying keyword. It can be a keyword, a key phrase, all of this. The deeper you go into the SEO rabbit hole, the geekier it gets. So I just want to say that just because I say keyword, it does not mean like one singular word. It means it can be a combination of words. So those are important and they are important for you to know and understand because the podcast app is a search engine. So the same way that you could go on Google right now and search how to be happier, how to start homeschooling, how to start homesteading, how to stop overthinking, whatever it is that you're searching right now, you could go on Google right now. But likewise, you would go on the podcast app and search for the same term. So the podcast app is a search engine. This is something that I say again and again because people don't yet understand that the podcast app is essentially a search engine. And it is the most amazing search engine there is because you can rank for things very easily. Meaning, if I write a blog today on how to stop overthinking, if I do everything right, if I play my games and, I pin it on Pinterest and I have all the right keywords in the right places and all of these things, hopefully within a year that will be ranking on Google. It'll be very difficult. However, I can go on my podcast right now and create a podcast episode on that. And with a lot less work and a lot less time and a lot less energy and a lot less effort, that podcast episode could rank very easily. And this is the power of podcasting, that it is still untapped, that people do not yet understand the role of SEO. And even people who claim to understand SEO, they really don't know how this world of SEO works and keywords and all of that. So how this works in a practical sense is that in order for your podcast to grow, you need to make sure that it is searchable. And how you're going to make it searchable is by making sure that it's SEO optimized. And how you SEO optimize something is by making sure that the right keywords are in the right places within your show. So let's break that down. How do you do keyword research? So first, you need a tool to do keyword research on. I really like Keywords Everywhere, and I also really like Ubersuggest. And what you do is, first, you have listened to episode 1, you understand your person inside and out. And then from there, you need to start thinking, okay, what is my person searching right now as it relates to what I help her? So let's say you are a happiness coach. You're going to write down things like how to be happier. Why am I so sad? Why do I overthink so much? You know your person, right? So you're going to write down the things that you believe your person is searching. What are the things, right, that your person goes on Google for and they search? Now, you have those terms written down, and now you're going to start doing keyword research using the tools that I mentioned, like Keywords Everywhere or Ubersuggest. And yes, those are paid tools, but they are worth every single penny that you're going to invest, which is not a lot of money, by the way. Now you're going to do keyword research, and then you're going to find information that you wouldn't otherwise have if you're just using Google, right? So you're going to know the search volume, how many people are searching those keywords a month. Is it a good keyword? Are people even searching the keyword? Because sometimes we think that we have a really good search term, and then we go to search and it's like 0. There's nothing there. It just happened to me just now, actually. I went to search something and I was like, oh, this is going to be so juicy. And it was like literally 0 terms. So this is why it's important that you do keyword research using a keyword tool. Now, once you have those keywords, right, that you're personally searching, you have your list of keywords, now comes the next step. You need to create really amazing titles and show descriptions and show notes. And by show descriptions, I mean like one show description, because you only have one show description for your show. So titles, dare I say, they are the most important place for you to SEO optimize, because every single time that you release a podcast episode, it is a chance that you have to get in front of your ideal listener. It is a chance that you have to position yourself so that when they search something in the podcast app, your episode comes up. And because you're regularly releasing episodes, you regularly have the chance to make that connection with your person. Not only that, it's not like, for example, Instagram, that you post something today, but then like your post from like last month is like buried down on the feed. You know, like your podcast, as long as it's SEO optimized, it never becomes obsolete. It doesn't become unsearchable. So it is super important that every single one of your episodes is search engine optimized, so that it'll always come up in search for the specific topic that you're talking about in that very specific episode that you're creating. Now, one thing that is very important here is that when you are creating those titles, that you don't just keyword stuff, meaning you're going to include all of these different keywords together because you think you hit the keyword jackpot. You also don't want to create anything that's, just like scammy or clickbait, because if I'm going to your episode, I'm searching for something, and then you have like this title, and then I click and it's like something completely different, or it's a complete letdown, I'm going to be upset, and you just wasted my time, and nobody's here for that. So balance the emotional side, like the emotional triggers, in a very good way. I'm not telling you to go like offend and trigger people. That's not that kind of trigger. But also balance the keywords. And this is something, if you have been listening to this show for any amount of time, you have heard me say that podcast SEO really is an art and a science, because you have to make that title or those show notes or the show description really appealing to both humans as well as robots. And if you just try to appeal to one or the other, you're going to hit a wall. So it's important that you balance both so that your show does get found and that your show ultimately has a lot of success. Now, when it comes to your show description, use that place for your ideal listener to connect with you the first time that they find your show. So whenever people find your show, different people do different things and they take different actions, right? So they might see an episode of yours and they might just look at the title, and the title alone hooks them in. Some people are like, okay, I just have to read the show notes to make sure that there's anything for me here. And some people actually want to go even further and read your actual show description. So you need to make sure that every single point of contact or any possible point of contact for your ideal listener, that is SEO optimized, again, for the bots and for the human as well. So again, balancing the emotional side with the bot keyword side. So make sure that you do have this really amazing, beautifully written show description that is also SEO optimized. And then the next part to this is your show notes. So your show notes, please SEO optimize them, because even though at this point in time, Apple does not yet make the keywords in your show notes searchable, this is changing. And I feel like this is the year that is going to change. And regardless, even if they did not do that, first of all, Apple is not the only place where people listen to podcasts, number one. But number two, think of your title as like the main actors and then your show notes as the supporting actors. So if the supporting actors suck, no matter how good the stars of the show are, it's not going to work. Like the movie's not going to work, right? So make sure that you have a really amazing title, but also that your show notes are also really good. And I'm just going to pause here for a second. I did not write this down in my bullet points to talk to you, but this is important and we need to talk about this right now. Be very, very careful with using AI to SEO optimize your titles and your show notes and whatever it is that you're creating, because you can go on ChatGPT or whatever thing of your choice and say, hey, I need an SEO optimized title for a show where I talk about XYZ. And it'll tell you, okay, here's a perfect title. But then when you dig and you start looking at the keywords, it's actually not SEO optimized at all. So be very careful with using AI to do keyword research. This is something that in my agency, we do manual keyword research because, listen, I pray and I hope that we never get to a point where the bots take over human creativity and human ingenuity, because it takes human creativity, it takes human ingenuity to understand how SEO works. And if you go to the bot right now, whatever bot it is that you're using, whatever AI it is that you're using, and you're asking it for an SEO optimized title or show notes, it's not going to give it to you. It might even sound really good, but it's not SEO optimized. Trust me, it is not. So Google fingers, you're going to have to do some work here. This is one of those things that you're going to need to spend an afternoon doing keyword research, but it's well worth your time. So don't waste time just asking AI and doing the easy thing. Just put in a little bit of work and do the hard thing first. I'm not suggesting you're lazy, but I'm just saying that with AI, people just have gotten complacent and it does not work for SEO. So just trust me on that. So going back, the show notes are something that support the main keywords which you have put in your title, and it helps you rank not just within whatever platform like Apple or Spotify or whatever, but it does help you rank on Google, which that is your ultimate goal. Your ultimate goal is for your podcast to rank on Google, and that is absolutely possible. It has happened to me. It happens to my clients. So don't feel like just because you are a podcast that your podcast cannot rank on a platform like Google. It absolutely can. Now, I do have a homework assignment for you, which I will send to you by email. If you have not signed up for the homework prompts, then I will leave a link for you down in the show notes so that you can get the homework prompts so you can follow along, because maybe this is the first time you're listening to me. And the goal with the series is to have a clear path for you. Throughout the series, we're going from point A to point Z, and I'm walking you step by step. And every month we meet. Every month on the 1st, I drop a podcast episode and you do the homework prompts. And the goal is by the end of this year, you're going to have a show that is doing really well, that is getting so many downloads, that's bringing your business, that's increasing visibility, that is aligned with the goals that you had for your show from the beginning. So whatever goals you had before you started podcasting, now you're like, oh, okay, like this is a little bit harder than I thought. Like, no, we're just going to put that aside and we're going to work together. And by the end of this year, you're going to have the show that you actually dreamed of. So make sure that you do grab the homework prompts if you have not signed up for that yet. And if you have, it'll be in your inbox today. And I will see you back here on the 1st of March. And we'll be talking about your content strategy for growth. So get ready. It's going to be a super juicy episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Podcast Growth series. Here's what to do next. Number 1, head over to julianabarbati.com/homework to grab your homework assignment for today's episode and start taking action on what you learned. Number 2, subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss the next step in your podcast growth journey. And number 3, come back on the 1st of the month next month for the next episode in the series. Until then, stay focused, take action, and don't let distraction pull you away from building the podcast you have always envisioned. You've got this, and I'll see you next month.